chance to ask you about Chris Bouchard yet, but when obviously you guys needed him to replace AG there, what made him somebody you guys went after? What were you kind of looking forward to him bringing to the coaching staff?
Yeah, so I feel like I've known Chris for a while. Our teams back when we played Seattle so many times, a few years back, he was coaching there and had a lot of success with Pete and his staff. I've spoken to him several times when he was in Dallas, just professionally over different things, and kind of always had stayed in touch. And then with the loss of Aaron, we had that opportunity to bring Chris in along with a few other candidates, and he really did a good job. And I'm excited that he's joined our staff. I think there's certainly an experience level, and also the attention to detail. I think he's a really good teacher.
Sean, can you just summarize the work you guys have been able to get done this week?
Yeah, we've kind of continued with this schedule we've been on. We're getting a lot of, of course, a lot of weight room work, a lot of conditioning, but a ton of individual specific technique work. And I think, sometimes when you get started in training camp and you get started in the season, you're always trying to have enough time where you're working the proper technique with your players. And I think this time frame for us is really been good. The rookie class, they've done a really good job. They're in shape, and I'm encouraged with the conditioning level of those guys as well as the veteran players.
Sean, I know when Dan and Nugent were the offensive line coaches, they would take turns leading meetings, and Nugent said he's going to take the same approach with Strief and let him lead some. What's the advantage to just having two different voices in there and being able to switch that up?
Well, look, it's a position group that's deeper than most, and so I think that it's fairly common in our league to see two coaches in that room. Both of those guys bring completely different skill sets, and yet they're passionate about teaching and about coaching. And I think that relationship is going well, and I think it's going to benefit our players. So, at times I'm sure whether it's the tackles specifically or the interior part of the line or the tackles and tight ends with Rochar working at the tight ends, that there's a lot of carryover coaching that's necessary. And I think that I think Zach brings an added dimension to our staff as someone who played not too long ago and is someone who's very smart. And then with Brendan, he's someone that has kind of come up, in that front, if you will, or O-line background. Both of those guys are doing a really good job, and I think you're always looking to change up the message sometimes or how it's delivered, and I think those two will do a good job of that.
Sean, how is Michael Thomas doing from a health perspective? Has he had ample time to recover from the ankle issues last year?
Yeah, look, he's here and been participating. He looks good. You still monitor it, pay attention to it, and scan it, all those things. He's getting treatment, doing the things necessary. So far, so good.
John, have you noticed any difference in Marcus Davenport coming in this year, whether it's physically, his mentality? He talked a little bit about how he was focusing on kind of getting more confident and not worrying about the results as much. Have you been able to see that?
Yeah, I kind of see more of a veteran player. I know he's had a good off season. He's been healthy for the most part, and he's doing well right now. That position group in general is really doing well. I think that experience is going to serve him well. His disruption, the end numbers will come, and it's just learning to play in and play out, and those results that sometimes you feel like you're being judged by specifically a hurry can be just as effective as a sack. we're excited that he's having the type of off season he's having.
You mentioned you guys are doing a lot of technique work. Are you guys seeing the growth that you want to see out of Cesar Ruiz from last year to where he is now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's had a really good off season. He's been here and getting a lot of work done. But to answer your question, yes.
Sean, I don't know if leap is the right word, but how much more of a production and impact do you think Traquan Smith can make this year on, offensive numbers? I know he's come a long way as a blocker as well. So.
Yeah, look, he's got a lot of versatility. He does a lot of things well. I see a confident player when we talk about him. He's physical. You can point to games where you see growth. And last year, with some of the injuries we had, he had a real good, an important game for us at Detroit. He's one of those players that I think details every aspect of playing that position, and so he's not afraid to do some of the noisy work, but yet he's someone that can stretch the field, and he's in good shape. He's moving around. He's smart. He's versatile, and all of those things you don't take for granted.
Confidence was the first word you mentioned. Is that something that did have to develop with him for a little while? I know he talked about grasping all the different receiver positions early in his career.
Yeah, I think he's always been a confident player, but then all of a sudden, a young player that comes into our league and then starts doing it on a regular basis, you see that grow. And so again, I use that term, I see a veteran player with him and the way he prepares, the way he carries himself. He's one of the leaders now in that room. And I think, he's someone that not only does it by example, but I think he's someone that puts in all the time and the attention to the detail.
Sean, for your second-year players after that kind of truncated, weird offseason they had last year coming in as rookies, how important has this offseason been for them just to get that full amount of time and get to know everybody and know where they're supposed to be, all that sort of stuff?
I think it's been extremely valuable. You're right. I mean, the schedule that they came into last year was uniquely different. They've all been here now and gotten into a routine relative to their training, and specifically have had a lot of time to work on their individual technique as it pertains to the position they're playing. So I think that time frame has been extremely beneficial. I mentioned the rookie class the same way. They've been real impressive in their time here and all the things. I get updates each day from Dan, our strength coach. We're excited to see these guys, in training camp once we have a chance to put pads on.
Kind of related to that, were you able to learn anything from that experience last year that maybe you can take into this year with rookies? Like do you kind of, I don't know if it involves like a change or anything, but
look, ultimately, I think every one of us, not just in the football world, you get affected when something like that takes place. There are certain things that you may grab onto and say, hey, as a result of our experience from last year, here are a few of the things that we want to keep in place. I think that's no different than in the normal workforce. So scheduling wise, there are a few little things that we liked about what we did in season that might be different. And I think most importantly though, is it really narrowed the focus on the things that you can control. And there's a part of it where you literally train yourself to not get as consumed with the things that you have no control over.
In that same vein, will you guys do OTAs and minicamp like you are now for going forward, or is that something you'll evaluate later?
Yeah, that's a good question. We probably will evaluate it a little bit more for next year when we get there. Certainly there are a few things that we wait to hear from union and management council, and we kind of go that direction, follow that lead. But I know that we feel real good about the schedule we've been on, and we feel like I know just from the coaching staff perspective, all of us, when we meet and we discuss what we're doing, the results and the feedback has been really good.
John, couldn't help but notice your hockey picture you put up on social media. How much did you play growing up?
I played a few years. I don't know if it was Alex or who posted that. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't know how many guys on our team can skate. It's a good question. But no, it's a tough sport to play when you play football. And in that picture was Ty Gretzky, Wayne's oldest son, who runs his camps. And that was taken, right before one of the morning sessions at camp. And I went out there and skated a little bit. It was just a newly Zambonied rink. So it was still wet. I got out on the rink, was skating a little bit. It had been a while. And then Ty opened the doors and 108-year-olds came skating up behind me. And that's when I kind of circled back. I fired a few wrist shots at the net and then took the skates off and went home.
Sean, with Paulson Adebo, since I think he was the only guy you brought in that opted out last year, do you have to consider anything differently with working him back into playing organized football or? Well,
you pay attention to his conditioning level. It was not unusual on the West Coast for players in the Pac-10 or some of those schools. A lot of it we felt when we were in the draft prep, we saw had a lot to do with the conference they were in. But he's in good shape. He's been training. He's looked impressive, and we'll be smart with all of these guys. But I think the key is this time, the time that they've been here, and then between now and training camp. But I think it was the case with a lot of players out west. All right, thank you guys.
I think this has been a common question for a lot of the veterans, but, first year without Drew Brees in that locker room, you have obviously a voice that's been around for a while. What have you taken on any kind of added leadership roles across the locker room with such a, established voice, or what has that been like so far?
It's kind of early, really. We haven't had much full team activity, interaction to where it's one voice kind of leading the room, so to say. We've done some things, but mostly we've been real technique driven and position specific. So I'm sure as soon as we get back, that absence of Drew will be visible. It'll be clear for sure. And we got a ton of leaders, ton of great players and guys that are more than capable of stepping into added roles, whether it be verbally, being more vocal or playing a position, with Taysom and Jameis.
Ron, when you say technique driven and position specific, how receptive have you guys been to that? Have you liked that approach, that new approach?
It's been great. All season is the time that you get better. Like that's the time that you try to make that jump and improve on every aspect of your game. So being able to do that in such a detailed, slow pace is extremely beneficial for the young guys. Extremely beneficial for coaching changes to be able to put their imprint, put their footprint on what they would like to see.
You mentioned that the coaching changes, like does this approach just kind of allow, just to expand on that, to allow more culture setting and becoming more clear on, kind of what they want and how they want things to be done? Yeah.
I mean, every coach have their idea of what they want it to look like and what they would like to see on film. And, it's the player's job to take coaching and be able to display those techniques, those teachings on on film. So it's been great to dive into real detailed technique work and then be able to go watch that on film. Like, all things normal, you won't get a chance to just really watch Indy or taking 2 steps. You're not gonna be able to watch that. You're watching practice and you're watching all these plays kind of fast. So it's been great to slow it down and break it down.
Obviously, with how the season ended, you guys didn't like losing to the Buccaneers, and it's a ways away till you guys have that rematch. But how much more of a rivalry is that now, given what happened last season, and obviously Atlanta lost some people. So how much more of a rivalry is it between you and the Buccaneers now?
I mean, we got to lock in on everything we need to do to be a better team than we were last year, and that's really it. That's really our focus, our main focus. We don't really think too much about who we're playing, what week, what time. It don't really matter. The best Saints outfit we can put out. I always bet on us.
How's it been adding Street back to the room?
Been great. It's been great, man. You guys spend time with Zach and around Zach. He's a strong personality, extremely intelligent guy, and he's been bringing a lot of that detail, and those real precise teachings he's been having his hand on for sure. So it's been great to have a guy that's played the position at a high level for a long time. That experience will trickle down to each and every guy.
Hey, Teron, now that y'all are kind of towards the end of the week, how do you like the changes in this year's minicamp, and is that something you'd like to see going forward?
Yes, it was good to me. I like being able to focus on, like I keep saying the small things, because that's how you improve. Doing the small things right. And I'm a real big improve during the off season kind of player. That's my goal every off season to get better. So it's been great, been able to do that. OTAs and minicamp is always kind of tough because D linemen running crazy. You can't really grab nothing or hit nothing, and they all run 4.4 when you got the shorts and t-shirts on. So it's been great not having to deal with all that.
A little off topic, but can you tell us a little bit about your Scholars location opening on Friday? I know you put a lot of work in that.
I appreciate that, Lob, and yes, I will. So I got my grand opening tomorrow, 3 p.m. It only lasts about 30 minutes. So Scholars is a Canada-based company, and it started off with one center in Toronto. It has blossomed to about 70 centers spread across the country. And the reason for that growth is the success that they've had, the production with the students. The curriculum is second to none. It's been created by professors, doctors, scientists, and it's award-winning curriculum that has been producing these kids are learning at such an accelerated rate. So I'm opening the second Scholars in the United States, but which will be the flagship Scholars, and we are looking to branch quickly. So the first one we're opening is in Old Metairie, but already having a plan to open 2 more in the city of New Orleans. And it's a great opportunity, a great product for the community, for the students. So I would love to see all you guys out there to come check it out, walk around, and I think it'll be extremely beneficial for everyone.
Have you seen any change in just Ruiz, and his approach coming back this year from year 1 to year 2? Does he seem more confident or anything like that?
Yeah. C's ready, man. He look good. He looks real. He looks strong. He's been putting work in, and that was never a question with C's anyway. He's a guy that wants to do well and will, for sure. C's is going to be a player in this league for a long time. Zach has helped him out a lot. Nuge has helped him out a lot during this time, spending more and more time with him opposed to just going against other people. They've been able to break down some of the things that were continuing to show up on film that needed to be addressed and improved, which C's has put that time in.
Teron, if I'm not mistaken, you were working out with Eric McCoy this offseason, right?
Yeah, spent some time with Eric, spent some time with Ethan, Throckmorton. You know, those guys go out to Dallas and train with me with Duke Manyweather.
So with Eric specifically, I mean, he's obviously played at a really high level his first couple of years in the league, but how have you seen him kind of continue to kind of make that jump year to year?
I'm a huge fan of Eric. Huge fan. He's not only just an exceptional player, exceptional person as well. The way he handles his business off the field, conducts himself. He's a true professional, and he's a great player. With Drew absence, he would probably be the one, probably the most directly affected immediately, with some communication, some calls, some things I would try to help with, but the center usually is the one directing those things. Not to say that the quarterbacks aren't capable at all, but Eric is capable as well. So that communication between those two positions would be big.
Last question for Teron. We'll have Nick Vanette.
What do you guys need to do to be interchangeable parts offensive line in terms of if somebody, goes down in the middle of the season where somebody could step in and you could have the same level of chemistry?
Yeah. I mean, never thinking of anyone ever leaving the lineup. But it's the NFL and the game of football. Things happen. Like I've applauded the front office over the last several years for the guys that they have brought into the system, into the building. The level of player that we've had to come in at spot 6, 7, 8 has been incredible, and I see the same, if not improved. We got some guys, and we haven't even played football yet, but we got some guys that I think that can be some really good players and be vital for us going forward.
Thank you, Teron. Thanks, Teron.
Wow,
appreciate it.
You've had a little bit of time to get in and work with Adam Troutman. What are your initial observations on that?
He's a great athlete. Not only have I worked with him here, but we're in the same area in the off season in California. We have the same agent, and a lot of us tend to go to the same area out there and just kind of train together. So I've worked with him before, and even the day when, right before I signed and made it official that I was going to be a Saint, the day I got released, there was word, I talked to Sean Payton, and, I knew there was a potential that I was going to be a Saint. So, we were already having conversations about that even before it became official. So we have a pretty special relationship, and just very excited to come in and get to work with him. And, I think we're going to be something special on the field together.
A lot of you guys were working out with Jameis earlier this offseason. I was just wondering how the two of you ended up connecting and working out together in California, I assume.
Yeah, so, Trout told me that Jameis was going to come out for a couple of weeks. I couldn't make it the first week because I was too busy proposing to my girlfriend in Cabo, now fiance. But yeah, for the second week, I heard he was in town. So Trout gave me his number. I shot a text to Jameis. We linked up at UCLA, and it was just great work. I just really respect Jameis a lot. He's got that leadership. He's just very profound when, even when we're just running routes, we're kind of practicing our huddle, and we're practicing the play call, and how we're gonna line up, and everything's just like we're practicing like we're in game mode. And I got a whole lot of respect for him, and even Taysom as well. Just two guys that are just going to do a great job leading our team in the right direction. And I'm just happy that I don't have to make that decision on who it's going to be. So, but yeah, just really respect those guys, and we really got some good work in this offseason.
Well, congrats on the engagement.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Not about off season.
Yeah.
One more question about that. How Traquan was there at the same time as y'all, right? It's kind of funny. It's like this big text chain. Like Winston talked to Troutman, who talked to you, and then I think Traquan talked to Jameis. But I didn't know if you also invited more people.
No, yeah, I wasn't sure who was all going to be out there. I figured there'd be some guys out there, but I didn't realize. I think there was five, 6 or 7 of us that ended up being out there. So we were actually able to you know, 7 on, basically do 7-on-7 with no defense. So we were able to actually practice our huddle. We were able to, get the play call going, line up, hit each route, each spot. So it was very productive. It was good for me because it was kind of an intro for me to be able to get a head start on the playbook and hear what it's going to sound like in the huddle with Jameis and just go line up and, do the assignment. So it was very productive. And so.
Thanks.
Nick, what's been kind of your initial impression of this offense and of trying to learn all the different play calls and all that stuff?
It's very complex, but in a great way though. It's very complex. There's a lot of personnel groupings. A lot of there's obviously Sean creates a lot of opportunities for guys to be able to put guys in certain spots on the field to create mismatches, just the better our chances of moving the ball down the field. And I'm sure what I've learned right now is probably half of what there is in the playbook, but so I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get a grasp for it all, but just really like what I'm learning right now. Obviously, I think this is my first time playing for a head coach that's offensive minded. I played with a bunch of defensive minded head coaches prior, and just excited for being in the system, and especially as a tight end. I think they do a great job of really not making us the focal point, but giving us a legit shot of making plays in this system, and just happy to be able to show what I can do, and happy to be a part of the Saints.
Out of curiosity, is there a reputation for that around the league? Do other people kind of talk about the complexity here and just the offensive kind of setup here?
I just kind of heard it from Trout and Mike Thomas and some of those guys who I've talked to. They say it was pretty tough to get down. They even said just the red zone offense, let alone it's like installing a whole new offense. So there's a lot of complexity to everything, but I think that's why, you look at the numbers, the Saints have been in the top 10 for, ever since Sean's been here. So obviously the numbers don't lie. They do a great job of figuring out ways to be successful when they're on the field. And like I said, just happy to be a part of it. And, I can't wait to show what I can do in this offense.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I guess first off, how does it feel just to kind of be back around a football team again and just kind of being able to work your way back into it now?
It feels really good being back. Obviously, I opted out last year, so wasn't able to be around that team atmosphere. So just getting back into a locker room with a bunch of good guys. You have good veterans here, a bunch of guys that I can look up to. So I've been enjoying it.
You play a lot of nickel before. Malcolm Jenkins just mentioned that they have you kind of learning 2 positions right now. Just curious if you have any experience there, and then just also what's the process been like? Just trying out both spots.
Right. Yeah, I played some nickel in college as well. A couple games put me in as nickel. In practice, I always ran with the 2s at nickel, so I feel comfortable jumping in there and learning the nickel position as well. Obviously, I played most of my college reps at corner, but coming into the NFL, just being able to be as versatile as possible and play as many positions as possible, I feel good.
And you opted out last year. What did you do over the last year to just kind of stay close to the game? And has it been an adjustment just kind of getting back into the flow of things, or do you feel like it's pretty easy with what you did to prepare?
I feel like I prepared well over the past year. Coming back, I'm in shape. I feel this is the best shape I've been in physically, mentally. So I feel like the last year's work, even though I didn't play, I did a good job staying in the loop as far as watching film, making sure that I'm just touching up on things, whether it's on the field work or off the field work, mentally, physically, technique work. So I think I did a good job over the last year.
what's the next step for you chemistry wise? Obviously, you're just coming in, learning some new guys and a new team. So how do you get acclimated, given the fact that you guys are in the classroom, how do you get acclimated with the other guys? What's that process like for you?
For sure. Some of that just takes a little bit of time, getting to know guys on a personal level, getting to know them on the field, how they play, how we can be able to work together and be the best secondary out there.
It's kind of your mindset coming into this. As a rookie, obviously, are you trying to just kind of keep your head down and learn? Are you trying to stand out? Like, how do you kind of view it?
I mean, obviously, I'm a competitor coming in here, just trying to learn as much as possible from the older guys, but obviously came here for a reason to compete, and we want to play. So any way I can get on the field, as quick as I can get on the field, the quicker I can learn and know all the different positions they want me to know, then the quicker I'll be able to play on the field and compete.
You able to kind of lean on some of the veterans they have here to do that?
Yeah, for sure. All the veterans have been super, super welcoming, helping us out if we have any questions, asking them, not being afraid to ask the older guys. There's no sort of hostility or anything like that. So it's a really good locker room, and I'm fortunate to be here.
Is there anything that you're going to focus on when you get out of here that's kind of like, hey, this is the main thing I need to do to make my best run to get that starting spot in training camp?
Yeah, first and foremost, just making sure I know the playbook in and out. Obviously, the older guys, they have a jump on all the rookies. So as a rookie, your number one job should be, making sure that you know the playbook as well as the older guys. So that's probably the main thing. And then everything else, technique work, any other thing that I can work on, off man, press man, working in nickel drops, zone drops, man drops, just trying to do everything.
What's been the first exposure to that playbook? Has it been pretty easy to pick up, or is there a little bit of a learning curve?
It's a little bit of learning. Obviously, there's a couple things that I did in college that are the same that we're doing here. Some things are a little different. Mostly it's different terminology, but I feel like I was prepared well coming in from college, learned a lot of different defenses. So I feel comfortable being able to learn on the fly and pick up this defense as well.
Austin, obviously this isn't quite the time for you, but are you somewhat anxious to get back in the pads and kind of mix it up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't played in a year and some change now, so just kind of chomping at the bit. Can't wait to get out there in pads and compete. Love the game of football, so not being able to compete for the last year was tough, but I'm glad I can be out here with a good organization and give myself a chance to succeed.
How much growth you made last year, just being able to kind of focus just on yourself and specifically what you needed to do to improve your game?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
Just last year, taking the year off, being able to kind of work personally on your own, do you feel like, how much growth do you feel like you made? Because, it's been a year since we've seen you. So just behind the scenes, how much growth do you feel like you made over the last year?
I feel like I've grown a lot. Physically, got bigger, faster, stronger. Mentally, I feel like I'm in a better space than I would have been had I left last year. So overall, I feel like I'm in a better space now.
What's just your thoughts on being part of special teams and, where could you contribute there? What do you think your specialty would be?
Yeah, right now, just kind of open, talking to coaches, whatever they want me to do, whether it's going to be a gunner, whether I'm on kickoff return, whether I'm, one of the up guys, blocking, really whatever they ask me to do, I'm ready to do.
All right, I think that's it. Anything else? Thank you, Paulson.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your main focus coming into this mini camp and being around everybody, what do you kind of want to get out of this specifically?
Definitely chemistry with the quarterbacks, learning the plays. Definitely gotta learn the plays, execute. You know what I'm saying? Alignment, assignment. You know what I'm saying? And then just doing what I came here for is definitely my focus right now, and just building that chemistry with the quarterbacks and you know what I'm saying, the receivers in general.
Juan, how many positions are they asking you to learn so far?
Right now I'm just at Z, but you know what I'm saying, just in overall, you know what I'm saying, I got to learn the whole concept of the play, and you know what I'm saying, they could put me anywhere, anytime. So X, Z, F, you know, I'm learning it all.
What are some of the challenges to learning how to play receiver in this offense? You hear people talk about like learning the splits and stuff like that. Is there any one thing that just kind of stands out to you as like more challenging than anything else?
I mean, I feel like it's all a challenge. It's all new, so the whole thing, the whole concept is, so you gotta line up right. Like that's what they critique. What I'm saying, that's what they're gonna be on you about even before the ball snap. Is where you at. What I'm saying, it's just very particular about that kind of stuff. So you definitely gotta nitpick about it when you're on the field.
Is it any more difficult to come to this situation not knowing who the quarterback's going to be, and especially as a rookie, or is it kind of just a clean slate where you just kind of get to set your own path there?
No, it's not any more difficult. It's just I'm working with both of them, all the quarterbacks. So it's really the same for all of them. Just give them the same amount of effort. What I'm saying, we all getting better out here. What I'm saying, expecting everybody to play. So we getting better.
You just walk into an NFL locker room with like some of these big name teammates you had. Was there ever like a welcome to the NFL moment for you? Just like walking and be like, oh man, it's like Alvin Kamara over there. Do you kind of just feel like you have to be, one of the teammates?
Yeah, definitely. But I try to keep it in. What I'm saying, just what I'm saying, because I'm here too. So it definitely like run through my mind every time I see like AK. What I'm saying, just seeing Marshawn out here for the first time, I was like, like damn. Like that's really him, what I'm saying. Jameis for the first time, like wow, this is really how Jameis is, what I'm saying. Taysom, what I'm saying. All the Mike Thomas, what I'm saying. Seeing him and was working with him the other day, so it definitely, what I'm saying, starstruck at some point, but I gotta keep my composure.
Just what are your thoughts? How did just the Sun Belt prepare you as a conference for the NFL, and how much better is it becoming as producing NFL players?
Definitely train me, for the physical part. I feel like I'm here physically, so I'm prepared and everything. And just some stuff, I'm saying, transfers over to the league. But, I'm saying, it's a big difference from college and the league. I'm still learning, I'm saying. I gotta pick up a lot of stuff. That's why I'm out here with the vets, I'm saying. They teaching me everything every day, so gotta learn.
What are your best assets as a wide receiver? A lot of the scouting stuff describe you as a great all-around receiver, but what do you think you do the best as a receiver?
What I do best, I feel like I'm more physical, what I'm saying, due to my size and everything, and what I'm saying, so I use that to my ability, and what I'm saying, just catching the ball, what I'm saying. My job, I feel like I have great hands and can use my body, so definitely that, and my yards after catch.
Good.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, one.
Thank y'all. What's going on, good people? How y'all doing?
Good. Got some new headband action going on there. It seems like
I keep a little activity going on.
How things been going so far? Obviously, it's a lot of costume work. Got a lot of new faces in the room. What's been your assessment thus far of first period minicamp?
It's been smooth in the linebacker room. We got a lot of new faces, some familiar ones as well. Hodge has been great, just as far as detailing the tape, finding technique things that we need to work on, that we need to clean up, things that are recurring for our position week in, week out, so just being able to sharpen the sword for guys who have seen it, and the young guys, they can get caught up pretty quickly because we all gonna see the same stuff.
DeMario, as your off seasons have gotten more community and civic minded, have you been able to maintain that balance to stay in the tip top shape football wise and stay sharp that way?
Well, for me, it's keep the main thing the main thing. Outside of my faith and my family, the main thing for me is my career, and this platform. It's what I do, which allows me to be who I am, and this platform gives me a lot of opportunities, but you got to protect the platform. So I keep the main thing the main thing. At the end of the day, making sure that my body is in, tip-top shape is always a main priority. Making sure that I'm finding new, innovative ways to take my game to the next level. So I just keep the main thing. And at the same time, I don't get so locked into it I'll never just be a football player. I'm always, in any space that I'm in, going to try to find a way to impact people. And so that's my teammates, that's my peers, that's, my colleagues, and neighbors and, people in the world. So, I keep the main thing, and, I keep it moving from there.
You've been here a couple years now, so what does it mean just to be embraced by the community? You mentioned your neighbors, so what does it mean just to be known as one of the key cog Saints now at this point?
Ask that question a little bit different.
I was just saying, what does it mean just to be, embraced by the New Orleans community and just be a really well-known Saint now and just be one of the top leaders on the team?
Man, being in this community and this culture is everything. Who that nation is something special, and you have to be a part of it to know. You have to experience it to know. No outsider will be able to look in and understand what it means to be a part of this culture. The team breeds the community breeds the team, and it's everything. And so, I respect this environment. I respect this culture, and came in understanding it and embraced it, and it embraced me back. And so it's just one of those things that it was mutual on both sides. I think this culture knows that I understand it, and it understands me, and we're natural. We were a match made in heaven, and so it means everything to me to be a Saint and be a part of Who That Nation.
Can you share some of the things that you might have incorporated this year? I think last year was aquatics maybe, and do you feel comfortable sharing some of the new stuff you added in this year, preparation wise?
Yeah, I'll give a few. I can't go deep into my bag. I got a few little tricks, but I changed up my diet a little bit. So I'm on a Mediterranean diet, which is playing my position. You need a lot of creatine for muscle strength, and so I eat a lot of quality meats, and it's really just kind of changing the way that the grease that the meat is cooked in, and making sure that it's clean, grass-fed, meat, or healthy raised meat. But then 2 days a week, I go all plant-based, and so it's like I build and I detox. So that was a kind of quite a transition in my diet that I think is making a huge difference. I've tapped into reading my sleep a little bit different. So little things like that. When you get to this point in career, it's a lot of little things, and so continue to sharpen the things that I've been doing. Adding the little things that allow me to get 1% better, 2% better. And I've been reading a lot of books too that have just unlocked a lot of things mentally. So definitely tapping into that next wave.
Mario, I think both Dennis Allen and Sean Payton said they liked the way Zach Vaughn progressed last year from the start to the finish. Did you see that being around him, and what are you kind of thinking about him going into year two?
Yeah, I think he has a tremendous opportunity in front of him to make a huge impact on this team, and really set a precedence for his career. He's a guy that really has the ability to play all three backer positions, which is rare when you have guys with the size and the ability and the understanding of the game that they can play multiple positions. I think it's faring well for him to lock in on one position and build that identity, and just really go out there and turn it loose and produce at a high level. That's going to do a lot for his confidence, and once he proves to himself that he belongs in this game and his talent level is going to sustain him and allow him to be head and shoulders above his peers, that's going to do well for his career, and he's going to be off to a great start.
Damar, just going back a little bit to the diet part of what you said before. Obviously we've talked to Alvin Kamara and Jameis about their kind of diet changes? I know Kamara went to a plant-based diet last year, at least primarily. Has that been something y'all discussed with them, or has that kind of impacted your decision to go with some dietary changes?
We always talking in the locker room, guys bouncing ideas off each other. Certain stuff works for certain people. Everybody's body's different. Also, our positions have different demands on it. Mine was kind of an evolved diet. I went all plant-based for early in the season, and it had its pros and its cons. And from there, I kind of went back to like my standard diet. I transitioned back because just all plant-based wasn't, ideal for me. And so from there, I took the information that I had, learned during the year and kind of evolved it and realized that it was a lot better for me to do more of a Mediterranean diet. And because plant-based is really good, I recommend people that don't have to exert a lot of strength, plant-based primarily, because you can get your proteins in other ways. But for me, creatine is a big part of my position, and so I need a lot of different foods that can give me that. And so it has this, all of it has its pros and its cons, and every individual kind of has to find what works for them, and for the time being, this works for me.
Mario, tomorrow, Teron Armstead is kind of doing the unveiling of his the new scholars education thing here in town. Just as somebody who does a lot of work in the community, what can you say about the work he's done, specifically with education and in his hometown? I know he's got the community center there as well. What can you say about him and his work in the community?
Oh man, it's unbelievable. A real life hero. What the opportunities that you providing for the youth, that he's providing for the youth, is you can't put a value on that. The kids in these communities, they need access, they need opportunities, and they need spaces where they can go and grow. And for a lot of these kids in the communities that they're being placed in, if you don't give them an outlet or somewhere to go to, just in general, just another place, the options that they have are limited and can really lead them down destructive paths, and where they end up losing their life or end up in jail or really in some unfortunate situations. So first of all, just giving them an alternative environment is humongous. But not only giving them an alternative environment, putting them in one that's going to help them thrive and help them bring out their gifts and their talents. Because when we really start to look at communities that are underserved or that don't have access, it's a lot of hidden talent there. There are a lot of brilliant minds. There are a lot more. You look at the game, a lot of the players you see in these games come from these communities. So there's a lot more than physical talent that are in these communities. But it has to be unlocked. It has to be tapped into. And so that's why community centers that have educational opportunities and access to different avenues such as STEM, financial literacy, all these things that are going to help them be successful citizens and quality people. The earlier we can get that in these kids' hands, the better. And so that's why I commend guys like Teron who are doing things like that.
You guys lost a few guys on defense, so what's the chemistry process like of building back a cohesive unit?
Yeah, we lost some significant pieces, but at the same time, we still have a lot of our core guys intact, and so the chemistry I don't believe was disrupted any. Because we have so many of our core guys returning, so it's not like a whole new unit. But we did have some big pieces that aren't with us this go around, and so that breeds an environment where guys who understand the culture have to kind of ramp it up a little to make sure that the culture stays intact, and guys who are new or stepping into those roles have to buy into the culture and bring it, and so the fact that our culture is still intact and we got great leaders at all levels who have been here, who understand the culture, we're gonna be all right.
Well said.
All right, guys, thank you.
Yourself?
We're good. Hey, obviously you guys lost a couple guys from that D-line room, specifically at D tackle. Are you taking on a bigger leadership role there, or how do you kind of view that with some of those guys that you lost this offseason?
We got a group of younger guys in here as well. So I'll say we've got a pretty good group right now, and a younger group. And right now, I'd say I'm the second oldest guy in the D line room. So, I gotta take that role as a leader in that room as well.
David, you made a lot of plays last year from the nose, a lot of sacks. What's the difference between playing 3-tech and the nose for you?
It's not really like a difference. I think it was just scheme wise what we did on third down and passing situations. So, it wasn't like I was in there playing like the nose on most rundowns. It's just a scheme.
Is there anything about being in that spot, rushing, that creates an advantage being right over the center for you?
I don't think there's any difference between that and being at the 3. So I feel comfortable with both. So.
David, how well has Michael Roach progressed from last year to this year?
A lot, because based off the drills we've been doing and working with our coaches right now, you see the improvements, and you see someone who is getting comfortable in the scheme, getting comfortable in the things we do out here. So you see a lot of changes and big improvements from his rookie year.
David, when you mentioned that you're one of the leaders now, is that a change for you? Is that something you have to embrace, or that sort of gradually become more and more comfortable of a role for you over the years?
It's something that becomes more comfortable over the years. Me coming here and ending up having by my third year, we were kind of like the second oldest in the room at that point. So, I take that up.
What's your thoughts about Payton Turner?
He's a strong, quick, twitchy guy. Tall as well. So he's based off going in the weight room and doing the little drills he's been doing amazing. So you could tell he's got the work ethic, and he's gonna be awesome here.
David, I think numbers-wise, last year was probably your best year as a pro. Was there still some stuff that you felt like you left out there? Is it something you wanted to improve on going into this offseason, or were you satisfied with how that went?
No, the way I go into the season, I go into the season with the same mindset, just to be a sponge and be able to take coaching, because the moment you think you're better than you actually are, you're gonna get surprised by the football gods.
David, the young guy, Lorenzo Hill, has come in. His dad used to play for the Saints. How do you see him fitting in with you?
He's got the strength. He's got the strength and the size. So the most important thing is going to be, how do I put it? It's going to be camp and seeing how just having him get a feel for what actual NFL football is. I think that's the same for every young person right now.
All right, David.
Perfect.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.